Hey everybody! So there's like music now in StreamYard that I can play. It's not great music, but it is music. So anyway, I'm drinking a beer today. Today is my day. I don't know. This is a Satin from somebody in Richmond. Maybe Satin the name of the brewery? I don't know. Somebody brought these to my house and left them here. And I'm going to drink a beer instead of a LaCroix this week. So, how are you guys? Where's everybody coming from? Daniel's here. Daniel, hey buddy. Okay, Michael P. Matt McFarlane is here. Am I clipping? How loud am I? I got the compressor going so I can yell and it won't clip, I don't think. I was watching the meter. But, anyway, from the Bay Area. I freaking love the Bay Area. Daniel, what's an excellent all solid wood P90 archtop? All solid wood? I mean, even the fancy ones aren't going to be all solid, right? Unless they're carved. Unless you want to spend a ton of money. ES 125s. They're vintage and they're not super expensive. If you're smart, you can find them under $2,000. Both the ones that I have, that I've cleaned up this week, are going to be above $2,000 because they're just both so clean. One of them I cleaned up and I found a stinger on the back of the headstock, which is my favorite. Behind a volute, it's like one of my favorite things. Cool. Well, Jose! Hey, buddy. How are you? I'm glad you're here. Jose's been a great friend, patron, for a long time. So, thank you for that. And these videos are brought to you by my patrons and my channel members. So, if you're not a channel member, think about it. You get early access to videos, you get Q&As, I ask questions, I post stuff just for you guys. And then also when merch is coming out, you get first crack at merch. And we got some stuff. I've been working on a thing for a year that I'm trying. I'm so close to getting it done. I have told no one other than my assistant. She's the only one that knows. James from Atlanta. Huh? What's happening? Something Catholic? Catholic then, I guess? I don't know. I don't know what that means. Randy's here. Hey, Randy. Garrett Kirkpatrick. Hey, buddy. Hang on. Why is it not showing? There it is. Hello from Ireland. Hello. Watching on Facebook, too. That's awesome. Hello from cold Eugene, Oregon. It's not changing right now. Florida. Philly. Okay, you mean carved. Okay, that's a great question. Off the top of my head. P90 with carved back? Like L5, L7. They're all going to be real expensive. I don't know. That guitar is pretty far outside of my wheelhouse. Sonia's here. Hello from an icy northern New Jersey. Sweet. Let's see. Pete from Tennessee here. Hey, Pete. Lots of people watching on Facebook today. That's great. There's also my LinkedIn profile. So if you guys want to connect on LinkedIn, we can do that. That's where the veil between like my personal, because I still have like a personal Instagram that's kind of hidden. That's like my own life. Sorry, I have a piece of apple stuck in my teeth. This is why you're here. No, you're here because I break microphones. That's my thing. Randy Presley, first time on the chat. I'm glad you're here. Lee, hello from Saskatchewan. That's awesome. Saskatchewan, you're like that way. Way far that way from me, I think, right? Isn't that super west? Yeah, there are no carved tops for that price. You're going to spend lots and lots of money. Or carved backs. Caleb in PA. Have ice today? Yeah, it rained here. So, this week, I'll give an update on my week. So this week, I've just been busy. Sold 4 guitars. Still, there's a thing. I don't think it's going to happen. I found a guitar that I don't want to talk about because as soon as I do, other people will. Anyway. But that one I don't think is going to work out. But I sold 3 guitars on Monday and 1 guitar on Tuesday. And then I traded for another guitar. So I've got a guitar that showed up the other day. And it is amazing sounding. Also, found a Mesa Boogie over there. You can't see it. If I go super wide, it's too dark. It's like over on that, over there. But I found a... when's the last time you guys found a Mesa Boogie in a barn? Because was it Wednesday? Because for me, it was Wednesday. So, anyway. Upstate South Carolina here. Hey, man. Jeremy, what should I be aware of before buying a 335 unseen online from a music store? Any neck cracks? That's the big one. Neck cracks, finish work, original hardware. I mean, on those, people don't usually swap pickups because they're such a pain to try and do. But, yeah, I would check for a neck crack. Really look at the back of the neck, see if you see that smiley face. Yeah. Is it a 335 or is it a dot? Like a Gibson or an Epiphone? Hey, from Esmont. Esmont? I don't know. I've been meaning to upgrade my acoustic for the last year now, so I'm all ears on this topic. This is a good one. We're going to talk about a bunch of guitars, and I'm sure there are some that, I mean, I'll let you in on a secret. There are many great guitars right now. It's kind of hard to go wrong right now with a lot of guitars, but there are some that definitely punch way above just their weight class as far as how much they're spending. Yeah, Central Canada. Yeah, you're over that way. Mac from Delaware, from Hockeson. Sheesh. James says, I'm considering going to the NAMM show. What steps do I need to take to get a ticket and go? I think it's free to the public, but there are some days that they're only public days, and there are some industry days. So if you know anyone in the guitar world, usually they can get you tickets. So I'm on the bubble on whether... I mean, I'll probably end up going to NAMM with Gallagher, but I'll see how it goes. Can you recommend a guitar repair person in NYC who can check out my Gibson J51 and my Favilla F5? I love those. I don't know anybody in New York. I mean, last time I was in New York, I went to Rudy's, and they're great. Is Mandolin Brothers still open? They're on Staten Island. But, anyway. Memphis 335, yeah, no neck cracks. Yeah, neck cracks and finish. That's the main issues. And then just ask them, some specific questions about how they ship them. Do they ship them at pitch? Do they ship them with, newspaper and stuff in the voids and the case and all that? Ever played a Takamine EF341 SC? Most are listed for closer to $1,500, but if you look in the right places, you can find used ones under $1,000. Thinking about grabbing one. I have played those. My opinion on Takamine usually gets people upset. They're okay. Like, they sound much better plugged in than they sound acoustically. Every time I say that, there's a guarantee I'm going to get 10 emails. People saying I don't know what I'm talking about. So, anyway, Jeremy, I own a 2015 J45. I've never played and gigged constantly. Or that I've... Never? I'm assuming you're saying I've never. That I've played and gigged constantly. The saddle is nearly gone. The action is getting up around 4 millimeters. Is it time for a neck reset? It just seems crazy for a newish guitar. I would also check the humidity. Take it by a repair person. There might be some stuff with the truss rod. Gibsons, especially J45s, don't typically need a neck reset. So something's going on there, but I don't think it's too crazy. Okay, yeah, I think Mandolin Brothers is gone now too. I sold them a guitar when I was like 19. Told that story yesterday. I didn't talk about my week. Yesterday, I went and hung out with the dudes at Casino Guitars. Got to meet Mr. Jonathan himself and Baxter and Sean and Zach and their whole crew, and it was super fun. So we filmed 2 videos for their channel, one with me and Baxter, one with me and Jonathan. Then we filmed a podcast for them. We filmed a video for my channel, like a vloggy walk through their guitar shop thing. I ran through the first cut this morning, and it's like 35 minutes. So might either get really chopped down or split up into 2 videos. But I don't quite know how to do it in 2. Maybe I can just do it in 2 parts, because there's kind of 2 stories that happen. I don't know. We'll see how it goes. I played maybe the best Martin guitar I've ever played, and it's a new one yesterday. George, hello from Alabama. Howdy from Alabama. All right. So, Yeah. Anything else this week? I got a Mesa in a barn. I got a couple amazing electric guitars. These are actually from last week. But let me show you a couple things that showed up this week or last week that I haven't talked about that much. We'll do two at first. So, these are some of the best Telecasters I've ever played. They're both Telecasters, but this one is a Blackguard, obviously, and this one is made by Rich Allen. And so these are Rich Allen vintage guitars, and they're incredible. This is a one-piece ash body. It's finished by Mario, what's his name, in Murfreesboro, Tennessee. I forget what pickup system. Maybe this has Antiquities, and then this has Throwbacks, I think. No. Anyway, I forget the specs on these. This one, let me put one of them down. This one, if you can see, has like amazingly cool like engraving all over. It's not going to focus because it's on eye detect. If I can do this, there it is. So yeah, you can see all that kind of like cool engraving and curly Q. The control plates are switched, and maybe the best Telecasters I've ever. That Blackguard is bonkers. And so we're going to talk about parts. I mean, they're basically parts casters, but they're really, really well done. And so anyway. And I have a couple other things, but they're not quite as exciting. Or they're heavy, and I just don't feel like. So, which new Martin did I play yesterday? I played two that are bonkers. One is my absolute favorite. I mean, it really is probably my favorite Martin I've ever played, because I've played others, and I keep thinking, like, this is awesome. So, at the same time, I don't know if it's the right guitar for me. But, so the one that I played yesterday that I loved was a 1937. So, it's a brand new 1937 Martin D28 Vts Vintage tone system with the aging. So, it looks like a pre-war red spruce top, Madagascar rosewood back and sides, through saddle, hide glue construction, hand polished finish. And this one is also the aged one, so it looks old and worn. I mean, it sounds like my heroes. And that's the thing. Like, I'm not a rosewood guy, but those guitars, they feel so important and so historical. So, yeah, that's the big one. So, what's the difference between Strat pickups and Tele pickups? I got a standard Tele bridge pickup and for the bridge, and a Strat neck pickup. I'm thinking of using for the neck. Any problems? So, Tele pickups, they have a cover on the neck, and then so it's basically covers and the copper plate on the bridge. So on the bridge, you have that it mounts on 3 screws rather than 2. So Tele bridge pickup. Is that what you're asking? No. What's the difference between a Strat neck pickup and Tele pickups? Strat neck pickup doesn't have a cover. And then, I mean, there's other stuff. I'm not totally with it on pickups. I know the main thing is the cover. The cover seems to kill some of the high frequencies. So you get a more mellow sounding, like a warmer sounding pickup. That's why, like, the Twisted Tele, they do something. And I think in the Twisted Tele, it's wound more or less, and then it doesn't have the copper plating inside the cover, or the nickel plating. Or there's some plating it doesn't have. So, anyway. 9K? 9K for what? It's not letting me see whatever the most recent comment is. I guess it's just because, like, the projection of this tab. I don't know. So, Gary, until someone else says something. Oh, there it is. If I click on it. Do you know any blind guitarists? As I am blind and currently learning the guitar. Man, that's a great question. So, two people that I know. Well, one person I know of, one person I know. So, number one is my friend Howard. So, Howard is legally blind, and he's able to, like, with larger projection stuff. He's in the live show sometimes. He's a guy, he goes by Tex. And, but Howard is someone who would be a great resource for you. So, Howard Haynes, if he's in, hey, Howard, if you're in here, can you say hey? If not, you can send me a message. The other one is Doc Watson. Doc Watson is probably the most famous blind guitar player who is blind. People first language. So I went to college for special education, and one of the things that I was just made a habit of is that we're people first, and then we have our disabilities. Like, I don't like being called a pudgy guy. I like being called a guy who's pudgy. But yeah, I think the same thing is true with, So, Doc Watson was another one who, I mean, he changed the world. And, yeah, so it's interesting. Check into him. Is the D28 VTS as worn as Neil Young's D28 in the picture behind you? This is not actually. This is another story I told on the, I told this on the Casino Guitars podcast. So you have to listen to that to hear the story of this guitar. But this guitar is, it's supposed to be a 1945 Gibson Southern Jumbo that was with my friend Ted. Ted said that he took it with him to Bayonne, and it was with him in the Eastern Theater, in the Eastern Front, like in France and Belgium and Germany when he was in World War II. The problem is that this guitar, by the time it was bouncing around, with him playing at all these shows, he let me fix it one day at the guitar shop, and the serial number and the FON put it to 1947. So there's just no way that guitar could have actually been in World War II because it didn't exist yet. But anyway, hide current comment. Okay, let me hang this back up. So we're going to go through, I didn't count, I guarantee there are more than 10, I think. So we're just going to run through some of these guitars. Now, I've tried to price them from lowest to highest. One of the questions I always get asked is, what's the cheapest guitar that I own? And it's getting pretty pricey. Probably the most affordable guitar I have is this Guild Baritone 8-string. Those are like $629. Yeah. So look around. I've gotten to where I've got, kind of champagne taste. And I'm just in a really fortunate season of life in which I get to have a bunch of expensive guitars. But with all of that said, let's go through. So, hey, right before we get started, I'm Jeremy. I'm the Guitar Hunter, and I made a course. And my course is called Write Guitars Faster. And so this is the tool, and a bunch of you have gone through this course, but the live shows are sponsored for this month, and we'll see how next month goes. But basically, this is the best tool I've made on how to buy the right guitars, sell the wrong guitars, emotionally recover from buying the wrong guitars, and then to build a collection of guitars that you're proud of, that feel like you, that set you up really well for whatever musical situation you're going to be in. Because, I mean, you know this, like, you're not going to become the man or woman that you want to be by accident. Like, it's just not going to happen. And the same way, like, you're not going to build a collection of guitars that are good for you, good for your family, good for musicians around you. They don't cost your family a bunch of money. You didn't put them on credit cards. You're not going to do that without a plan. And so that's why I made Write Guitars Faster, is to give people just a practical plan of how to buy and sell guitars in a way that you're not in them anywhere close to retail price. Like, all of these guitars I have not paid retail price for a single one of them. Nope, not one. So anyway, Write Guitars Faster, check it out, guitar-hunter.teachable.com. So with all that said, number one, the winner for me. Oh, that's funny. So I matched these colors. So this is my hex code. This is my orange from my website. And does that little square bother you where it says my name? Boom, boom. Okay, anyway, doesn't matter. Number one, I think probably, and this isn't the most affordable. I think there's one that's a little more affordable than this, maybe two. But for the money, these are so cool. So this is the Recording King Dirty 30s. Now, the secret to these is that they're super cheap, and with them, you should just plan on getting somebody who's good at setting a guitar up to put new strings on it, put a new saddle on it, put a new nut on it. If you can spend an extra $100, and I understand you're saying spend another 33%, but do any of you live in Birmingham? So if anybody's in Birmingham, Alabama, Ted Hedro, what's Ted's last name? It's Hedro Music. It's anyway, one of the guys in Birmingham with Burns Banjos. He gets these. He's a dealer for these. He'll cut a new saddle, new nut, and then give them a great setup, and they are freaking monsters. So he'll sell them for like $300, and they are just so good, and there's so much guitar for the money. If you like the idea of like my Waterloo and this guitar are pretty similar. Now the Waterloo is just thrown like amazing parts of like amazing quality redwood spruce or red spruce top, and then cherry back and sides. But anyway, hey, Cole's here. Hey, buddy. And love the casino, guys. Fun to listen to the podcast with you on it. Dude, it's super fun. That was my favorite thing we did all day, is the podcast. But anyway, have any of you guys played the Dirty 30s? They're really cool, and they're surprisingly good for $199. Now, they are small. I mean, like, it's basically kind of a child-sized guitar. Now, people will call this a parlor. It is a parlor guitar, but what I noticed is the most three affordable guitars that I could find that I would really stand behind are they're all small. So the next one is the Gretch Jim Dandy. This is a great guitar as well. It's probably not quite as good quality and construction-wise as the Recording King, but the Jim Dandy, $189. It sounds really cool. It's very boxy. I think this one's ladder braced as well. I think the Dirty 30s is ladder braced too. And so with both of these, they feel and sound and look very much in their moment. 1930s, 1920s, 1930s. These are kind of Depression era type guitars. They sound very bluesy, very boxy. They're not going to sound like a big Dreadnought. So that's where I'm like, unfortunately, right now, you're just not going to get a giant Dreadnought guitar. There aren't any on this list that I think that I recommend below $500, unfortunately. No, there is. I just didn't add it. Maybe it's in here. Anyway, this list has morphed and changed through the week as I've built it. So number 3, I think, is the Yamaha, the JR1. This is a surprisingly good guitar. Still tiny. This is like the same size as the Martin, like the LX1. The Little Martin, the Baby Taylor is about this size as well. So it's a small guitar, but they sound really good and they play really well. Now, the big thing with the Yamahas is that they seem to get their scale length really locked in. And so they end up like, it feels like a full-size guitar and the intonation just works really well. Let me see. Anthony, that's a great question. So, am I planning on doing a review of Duncan Africa guitars? Yes, I am, and I had one for about 3 weeks, and something happened to it in shipping that we didn't notice right away, and when I went to film the video, there was some damage on the back of the guitar that just didn't work for the two things we were going to do. One, we were going to review the guitar, and then we were going to give the guitar away, but it was just broken. So, I'm trying to figure out a way to do it. If I can find somebody that has one that I can just borrow and just ship it here for a couple days. So that's the goal, is to do that. I love Jay. I love what Duncan is doing. If you don't know Duncan Africa, they're amazing guitars. They're built in Uganda, and then their final assembly and the final setup and stuff happens in Canada. Then they get shipped around the world. They're an amazing thing. They're making the world a better place. They're giving people good, valid work in Africa. So, Lorenz, what do I think of Sigma guitars? Sigma guitars are good. They're much better outside of the U.S. In the U.S., they're just very, like, boring, trebly, not good sounding guitars, except unless you spent a ton of money. So, yes, other great guitars under $1,000 are the Ferk Blue. What about a big Baby Taylor? They're okay. They just lack a lot of bass for me. And the Martin Dreadnought Jr. You'll see they're not in my list here. So, hey, look at that. Jansen says Recording King is the best guitars under $800, in my opinion. I would agree with that. Yes, I think between these two, Recording King and then the Gretch Jim Dandy, the big difference with the Yamaha is that this one's X-braced, so you're getting a little more bass. I think for me, and I will say this now as I work through this list, these are probably some of my favorite guitars in this price range. The Gildee 240, I'm gonna let you in on a secret. This is not the last Gret, or this is not the last guild you're gonna see on this list. So if you get up to around $500, yes, you can get a Martin X series, but I don't like the X series very much. They have plenty of bass, which is a great thing for them, but they're just, I don't know. They just kind of miss the mark for me. I don't like the high pressure laminate. I don't like if they do have the solid top, which is the 1 suffix. So it'll be like a DC X1E. So if there's a 1 in there, that means they have a solid top, but usually they don't have binding. And so HPL with a solid top without binding is just asking for, if that corner gets bonked, they're gonna split apart. So for me, the Guild 240 is an amazing guitar. It's bassy and it's fun. Now this is a very similar guitar structurally to the Marley, and I like the Marley. Yeah, and for me, the Marley, it's thrown me off from the beginning because that guitar, they are reissuing a very affordable guitar from the 1970s, and they nail it. But the things they nail are the things that I just don't personally like. I don't like the satin finishes as much. I don't like the style of tuners that they ended up using on those. All preferential, but I think those guitars for $399 are amazing. The gig bag is really cool too. So $479, the Guild 240. Now there are also links if you're looking for guitars down below. There are links down in the description down below, and those are all, yes, they're all affiliate links. Now pretty much Sweetwater carries everything that I was talking about this. I'm a Sweetwater affiliate, and that's a good way that you get cool stuff from a great retailer, and then I also get supported to continue chasing around. Did I tell you I found a Mesa in a freaking barn? So anyway. But another guitar, and this is probably my favorite guitar on this entire list, and it's not even close to the most expensive. The Guild DS240 is beautiful, and it's round-shouldered. Oh, look, there's a hole in the graphic. Look, you see my hand through there. Oh, look, the binding. You can see. There it is. There it is. But the DS240 is a really cool guitar. My favorite, it reminds me of Hassan Dalton that I love, which is the Hassan Dalton DS Crossroads. So round shoulder, 24.75 scale length. These have they're a vintage radius on the neck. The necks on these are wonderful. They're a low C shape. I feel like this guitar doesn't necessarily feel like an old Guild, because Guilds weren't round shouldered in the past. They were always big square shoulders, and they had big U-shaped necks. But these are just wonderful. For $529, I think even Sweetwater, when I posted this, some of these guitars, I think this is one of them, they had like demo versions. So it's like this was out in the shop, and we'll sell it for like $470 or something. So to me, these are kind of bonkers. Like, they're cool, they're funky, they're mojo. I like the vintage style logo as well. So this one, yeah, like I said, I think this is the best one on the list. So, keeping people on their toes, a guitar that I really like is the Taylor Academy series. I just played one of these yesterday at Casino Guitars, and I like the arm bevel. I don't feel like it's a gimmick. This feels like a guitar that you could play for a long time and be really comfortable with. I like the gig bag that comes with them. This one has the pickup as well, has the version 2 of the expression system. So for $699, I mean, it's a formidable guitar that would kind of set you up to play in church, play out, play in high school, play, wherever you're going to a bar. It's a cool guitar. Now, it is a little plain looking, and they don't really work well with a pick guard. You could put a pick guard on it, but so they're a little plain, but for $699, I would take this over an X series from Martin for sure. So these are still laminate back and sides, and yeah. So, uh-oh. Hang on, some comments. Do I want a guitar stand? I do. I'm working on it. I've had a brief stint of, oh my gosh, everything is expensive. So let's talk about it for sure. I'm sorry, I've been meaning to get back to you. I would love to do a guitar stand. I also have figured out where I think I want to put it in here. How about Godin Acoustics? I almost put a Godin on this list. I just don't like their neck profiles. Like, Seagull's really bum me out because I love cedar and I love cherry, but their neck profiles for me are just unapproachable. What's your opinion of the Martin 15M series? Amazing. They're great, but lots of people have figured out that they're great, and now they're getting expensive. I think they're like, even used, they're like, how much? $1,000? $1,100? I remember when you'd find them for $600 or $700. But anyway, I think the Taylor, I think the Taylor 10 is great. Let me come back over here and catch up with comments real quick. Sean says, was rewatching the video where you gifted the 67 D28 the other day. Have you heard from them guys lately? Is a part 3 coming? That's a good question. I talked to Joshua on Monday. We were kind of talking and catching up, and I love Joshua, and I wish that I saw him more often. He's a really great kid, and it seems like there's some stuff kind of going on in there. I mean, he's just busy. He's in high school, and but I talked to Raymond not too long ago. They're just happy playing music, getting back out after COVID. And I say after very cautiously. But as you and I are out doing stuff again, they're back out. The Recording King RD320 is about $800, modeled after a Martin D28. Torrefied Adirondack top, rosewood back and sides, bone nut and saddle. I've had my eye on one for the future. I really like Recording Kings. That's what Jansen said earlier. They're really good. Yeah. So, there is... Okay, so Wendell says that the P20e link takes you to the wrong page. I can't fix that on the fly. So all of those, if you follow that link and you do anything on the website, I think it's within like 24 hours, it will be, I'll get credit for all of those sales if you're looking for. But you can also just take the title and then just go search on Sweetwater and you'll find them. There's two of them to look for, the P20e and then the P20. I'm giving it away. The Mesa is a roadster. So it's a 4-channel monster. And it came with 2 mismatched cabs. Yep, Recording King 328 and 318 are very good. 1828, that seems familiar. You're also going to notice that... hang on, let me turn this off. You're going to notice that Eastman is not on this list. And it's not that I particularly don't like Eastman, but it's that I cannot find them. I just don't see them when I go to guitar shops. And then I have asked them, and they have seen me and reviewed my channel, and they've said that I don't have enough followers. So anyway, I think I'm about to give up on Eastman. I've played a couple. They're really good. I played some at Artisan. They're good guitars. But yeah, they just won't give me the time of day to do anything. So the next one that I think is a great value. Now again, small guitar, sounds kind of small, but sounds killer and has a great pickup in it. Also comes with a really helpful gig bag. I know a lot of like younger players in particular are playing these a bunch. Is the Taylor GS Mini, the Rosewood, and also the Koa. The Koa is the best looking guitar under $1,000. Is it the best sounding? Not really. Is it the best playing? Sometimes. But it's still small, but with the Koa, they're beautiful. And so the problem with these is that unless you have a tool like the Sweetwater, where you get to review each one and kind of pick out the specific guitar that you're getting, some of these are much prettier than others, and the pretty ones seem to get gobbled up pretty quickly. But I've seen people pay more for a really good version of these guitars. Now these are still, they're layered back and sides, and then the tops are solid, but they sound pretty awesome. And it's under $1,000 if you're buying new. I think that these are all pretty good. So the next one, there are 2 of these that I really like. And so these are the PRS, the SE P20s. And so the P20e, and someone said that the link isn't working for this, but I don't know. I thought it worked. Hopefully it will work. If not, you can just click through one of the links and then search for this. But these are, I think I'm going to get one of these in the next couple weeks, and we're going to do a review for Sweetwater. There's a couple pieces of gear that Sweetwater is going to send me over the next month or so that I'll get to show off to people. But I love the style and look of these. There's a whole move in the guitar world to be smaller guitars. I wouldn't call this a parlor size. It's probably a 00 size. But there's this whole move for smaller guitars that are more comfortable, and then also like black finishes with white pickguards. So this is like, in a really beautiful way. It's kind of insinuating some Gibson stuff from the 1930s, but in a whole different way. This is a Paul Reed Smith modern style guitar that's really cool. I mean, I like the bird inlays. I used to not, and now they just get me. I really like them. Now, we're going to move into a hot trio here. These three are amazing. We didn't talk about price. $629 on the PRS. So we're getting into like real money. But I think this is where most of us are going to level out. Like, I think most people could eventually get to a $600 guitar, and it's not crazy. Yeah, so for me, the Guild F250 is basically an F25. I think, I'll have to double check. I think these are still laminate back and sides and then solid tops. This is the same quality as my baritone. And this, like, there are no guitar companies making guitars as good under $1,000 than Guild, in my humble opinion. And listen, Guild has never paid me $1. They've given me the case for this guitar for free. Everything else I've just done because I like them. I got to borrow some guitars for a while, but they've never actually paid me. You could tell them, you say, hey, pay Jeremy some money. That'd be great. Because Jeremy's kids like eating, and I like paying our mortgage. But anyway, incredible quality on this. It's really hard to see. You can see my light box over here. But really great quality on these. The jumbos are incredibly fun. And these guitars all have really good bass response. So when I say all of these, there are two others that I want to talk about. Number one is the OM120. These are all right around the same price, $619, $699, $699 for the M120. So the OM is like it's an OM size. So it's triple O size. It's a bigger guitar, mahogany top. This will have a lot more bass. Now, the downside to these is that they do have pretty thick polyurethane finishes. And so with these, man, they're like, when your strings start to die, you will know it, because they just kind of get thumpy as strings die pretty quickly. Bunch of comments. Let me turn this off. Come back over here to some comments for a minute. Okay, testing your Martin knowledge, because I don't know. What's the difference between an 015 and an 017? My 1960 015 is getting a neck reset. I have no idea how to price it compared to a 17 series. They are very similar, but they're very, very subtle in differences. I think the first one is like, the 15 series didn't start until the early 50s, right? Yeah, so the 17 series is like into the 1890s, but the 15s didn't come around until early. Gibson, Martin. What is happening? Are there Martins not in here? Am I crazy? I'm losing my mind, boys and girls. There we go. All right. The Martin. Only a Martin's good enough, right? All right. So, sorry, this is a segue that we're getting. So, 15s are mahogany tops, side back, no binding. That's the biggest one, is that there's no binding anywhere, but even 17s don't always have binding. And let's see, the 15s, early examples were maple or birch bodies in 1935. They were discontinued in 1936. Then the mahogany started in 1940. They were discontinued in 1944, and they were reintroduced in 1948. And then the last 015 style was put out in 1963. So then they didn't show up again until like the 80s or 90s when they brought out the 15 series again. So anyway, binding is the main difference. The other one is which tuners they have. There we go. The The mighty Esteban. Yes. Senor Esteban is not on my list. But, okay, as we keep moving through, I think that these three guilds are really cool. Big Boomy Dreadnought, and then we've also got the DS. Like I said, this is my favorite one on this list. And then you get to, oh boy, oh, what's happening? These three down here, I just think like the OM120 is a really comfortable shape and size, more bass, a little louder, and then you get to like big giant strummer if that's your type, and then super sweet, thoughtful fingerstyle couch guitar. This is the M20 size, and you guys all know how I feel about how I feel about M20s. I think they're wonderful. I love them. I prefer them over the Martin 0015M. But anyway, the M120 is a great guitar. I have a video somewhere. I mean, it's on YouTube, but at some point where we got one of these for my friend's daughter. And it's a really cool guitar. Now, one of the ones that I played, oh, look at that. This one, it cut a hole through it. The pickguard's gone. That's funny. I just used the tool real quick. I use Canva for most getting rid of these. And is there another one? Okay, there's not. But that pickguard got chopped out. So I put my face in it. Okay, so the big thing with the Inspired by Gibson is that they've picked really interesting time frames to reissue. So this is like very much like a 60s kind of thing. And what's cool is I don't remember that many wine red J45s coming out in reality, but I'm into it. It's more of a guild thing. Like you see tons of guild D25s and D35s, mostly D25s in red. And they would have a white pickguard sometimes. Maybe they have a black pickguard. But I think it's a really cool guitar. I've played a bunch of these. I played them at Gibson Garage. I think that these, for what they are, man, they are freaking winners. They're really good guitars. They play really well. They have more bass than you would think. When people get affordable guitars, the number one thing you typically are sacrificing, or you're not getting until you spend a bunch of money, is good, crispy, powerful, low end and bass. And so I think that Epiphone and Guild in this list, Epiphone and Guild are the ones who are able to do that. Now there are other ones that are just really clean and clear and punchy. Like a lot of the Taylors are really good for that. So now there are a couple like just kind of exciting and strange choices. Like the D'Angelico, the XL, the Lexington. This guitar is cool. I think I'm going to get one of these in the next couple weeks. I really like this guitar because it does a thing. It has a pickup. It doesn't have a cutaway. And this guitar just sounds... Each note is about the same volume. I played one yesterday at Casino. They're good guitars. And they're a little more blingy. They kind of remind me... So there's another guitar line that's not on here, which is Blue Ridge. I just don't see them very often anymore. And I think they have two things that bug me. And only one of them, like... has conveyed into D'Angelico, which they're just a little too like blingy, a little too shiny, too much abalone, too much inlay for me. I like block inlays, but these with the splits, they're a lot. So with this, I mean, it has a great Fishman pickup in it, has a dovetail joint neck, which is crazy, has scalloped braces. So this guitar, like they're coming for a professional level guitar, and they're $500 below where most professional guitars tend to start. So this would definitely be like a prosumer level kind of guitar. It's also really pretty and really unique. You wouldn't see, like, you show up with this, you're not going to show up with, you're not going to show up and somebody else have the same guitar, at a jam or whatever. Now, there are a couple Martins on this list. The Martin D10, I like these a lot. I think they're okay. They're made in Mexico. The only thing that I really don't like is that they have this, like, mother of toilet seat rosette. That's just, I don't know. It feels, that's the cheapest thing about those guitars. But they're laminate back and sides, and then they're solid tops. $849, that's a good price. It has the Strat neck, which I really like. Most people don't, but I think they're super fun and playable. So I have one more after this, but I'll come over here and do some comments. Yep, 15s and 17s are the same with some minor trim differences. 15 might have no binding, where the 17 might have rosewood binding. 17 do command a higher price, 10 to 15% more. Yep, it's true. Rasmus! Hey, buddy. How are you? I just bought a lag Dreadnought. What is lag? Cutaway. T170 DCE for $669 MSRP. Manufacturer's suggested retail price. I got it new for $549. Can't stop playing it. Spruce top. Kaya back. Kaya back and sides. I thought Kaya back was one word. That's awesome. That's a fun guitar. Ooh, the Dirty 30s 12 string. That's awesome. I saw those. That's a fun, like, because that guitar's already made for jangle, and then you get a 12 string. Sheesh, that thing would be so cool. Jimmy says, just bought a baby Tele for $200 and needed a setup. Wow, so comfortable. Play it more than my Martin MMV. That's awesome. That's a great guitar. You don't like the Dalmatian pickguards on the Blue Ridges? Yeah, most people don't. I mean, for 20 years, people have said, like, I want that guitar. I just don't want that headstock on it or that pickguard. We swapped a lot of pickguards on them when I sold them at the Guitar and Amp Center. Patrick says, how is your AD17 blacktop holding up? I loved mine, but had to return because the V bracing started to show through the finish. I was hoping it was a fluke. You can see all of them. I mean, most of the V class, you can see the shape of it. That doesn't psych me out too much. Mine shows that. So mine actually was one of the guitars that 2 guitars left, and they're trading me for a guitar that I would never find again. So I traded my Acoustasonic Player Telecaster and my AD17 last week. I traded it for a Wright Brothers, for a Wright Lutherie J45. So it's a maple back and sides J45, and it's bonkers. So it's a guitar that it would do just really well on the YouTube channel, and it just sounds great. So it's a giant, like, super bassy D45. But yeah, I've had the same thing. I wouldn't be worried about it, but I get that. I've heard other people say that too. Going to get laughed at for this. Taylor Academy 12 is a great campfire guitar. Better than a GS Mini, but still small and tough with an armrest. Usually $600. I don't think you get laughed at for that. I would totally agree. That's a great guitar to kind of take out and about. Bought myself a PRS Angelus. Angelus? How do you pronounce that? And it looked amazing for $749. That's amazing. Yeah, Sweetwater. I think they're gonna send me. I think I'm gonna get one of the PRS, either the P20 or some of the other ones. We might do some giveaways. Might get them into the hands of people. Got a Yamaha AR1 A1R this year. Really nice harmonics, but yeah, no defined bass for all its good purpose. Mud-free demo recording. That is the thing. So let's come over here. And the last guitar on my list that I think is a sleeper, and I think that is a really great guitar, is the Yamaha LL16. Love these. They're a mini jumbo. They're a fun shape. These are very piano-like. What's interesting about these is the build quality is insane. The other thing that I really like about them is that they're so articulate. They record really, really well. And they remind me of early 2000s Alvarez Yari, some of the master builds, and some of the proper Yari guitars. They don't have a ton of bass, but they are perfect for tracking and recording acoustic guitars. I also like how tight the spruce that they tend to use is. It's just a really great guitar. I feel like it's such a good way to honor Yamaha, because Yamaha makes great guitars, but most of us have just played like either the super cheap starter guitars that are sold at Costco or whatever, or we've played old red labels, silver labels, gold labels that are just, mile high action, and they're just hard to play. But for $899, good googly moogly. Like, I mean, just how do you beat it? So these are really great guitars. So like I said, if you're thinking about any of these, if you're thinking about any of these, there's links in the description down below. Now, these are all new guitars that I mentioned here because the market is a bit crazy. I thought about going through used guitars, and I think for me, if someone comes to me and says, hey, I have $500, what acoustic guitar should I look for? I'm going to point them in the direction of probably a Fender CD140. I'm also going to point them in the direction of if they can find any of those guilds from the last 10 or 15 years. If they could find a guild D4, that's a perfect guitar for a starter. Those are now $600 or so used. And So, Daniel, you are going to love that guitar. Stratobond, I think aren't they? Let's go back and look. I believe. Sorry, got too close. Let me... That's good to know if the Stradibon is only on... All right, let me share. Confused. Which one am I trying to share? Don't share personal information. Okay, here we go. So here's the D10E. If we look at the back of the neck. All right, you're right. I was wrong. Great. So how fair the side of that neck looked is what made me think that it was a Stradibon. That's great. So these are a solid neck, probably, and then... Oh, okay, so there might be a joint in there. Oh, it's moving. And then I don't see... Yeah. It's a good-looking guitar. All right. Oh, boy. Oh, full circle. Remove. There we go. But... Yeah, cool guitars. What other guitars, what guitars are you surprised aren't on my list? Might be a silly question, but what are the benefits of trading in guitars versus selling them and using the money to buy something else? It's like cars. Trading in your car, you're going to give away way more money. I don't ever trade stuff. I don't trade stuff to guitar shops because it's a good way of turning your dollars into 50 cents. And I hate losing money. So for me, I wouldn't trade unless it's a deal that guitar shop needs and they can give you a good deal and they'll kind of make it up on your end. So yeah, I wouldn't do it if I were you. Oh, good. Cool. Yeah. If you're thinking about it, they're great guitars. They're warm. They have a bunch of bass. They sound good. They play well. Now they're going to freak out. They're going to need a setup in like 6 months. So don't freak out. But if you do get one and you're thinking about getting it from Sweetwater, use the link down there below. You read my mind, Zach. That's the whole point. It was amazing. You knew exactly where I was headed. Yeah, those Yamahas are great guitars, and they sound like a freaking piano. Because just like everything is the same volume. And it's really good. I have a Cort Custom with Grovers. I think it's Bear Claw Spruce, top, Rosewood back and sides. It seems from Googling. Love my guitar. What do you think about Cort? I love Cort. Well, hang on. Let me take that back. I like Cort guitars. Many guitars that are made by Cort aren't sold as Corts in the U.S. Where are you? Because Corts are very rare in the U.S. in my experience. Hey, that's right. So here's a good one. So Aaron Short and I are going to be doing a live. We're going to be doing a live show on Monday. So we're going to hang out. We're going to do stuff. So check out his channel. And I'm excited. It'll be fun. The man who I bought it from didn't know anything about the guitar. Yeah. They probably came from somewhere. Because there aren't many Corts like for sale normally here in the U.S. Under $900, the Epiphone inspired by Gibson Hummingbird. It's quite surprising, and I can't believe Gibson allowed that to happen. I know. That's what everyone has said. And I feel the same way. Like, oh boy. They kind of let it slip that they could make great sounding guitars for under $1,000. So it's interesting. I don't know what to make of that totally. But yeah, I'm a big fan of those. I just don't like very red guitars, which is why I didn't put it on this list. Yeah. So, in my opinion, nothing beats Eastman guitars for under $1,000. All solid woods, mostly handmade. Yeah, they're great sounding guitars. They play really great, but I don't know. I think that for me, I just haven't seen enough of them. And when I've asked the brand to help me out, because I get asked about them, it is the brand I get asked about the most, and they just won't give me the time of day. So, anyway. Eastman E1D. Trading is a no-no. Hey, Jeremy. Are you for guitars with pickguards or against? It depends on the guitar. Okay. Can I get it? My Waterloo did not... Oh, boy. My Waterloo did not come with a pickguard, and it just benefits so much from the Tiger Stripe guard. So this is actually the pickguard from the Deluxe. But yeah, so this guitar just absolutely looks right. I think if it was all without a pickguard, I think they look a little silly. But this pickguard doesn't, this contour doesn't match the sound hole. And so it's just had to be like evenly spaced out so that it looks right. But yeah, this is one that I think really, it works. My Paget Model 1 doesn't have a pickguard. And I feel like a pickguard might draw attention away from the rosette that is just really cool, like dyed maple burl. So it all depends on the guitar, and that's what's exciting, is like it's whatever you want. Now I will say you'll lose a noticeable amount of volume if you put a pickguard on a guitar. So sometimes that's great, sometimes not. That's why the Jason Isbell D18 doesn't come with a pickguard, because they want them to be louder. Michael Swanson says, I've had my eye on the same guilds as on your list, specifically the DS240 Memoir. Can you get that? And I'll come hang out and I'll play it at your house. And the OM120. Both are awesome, but I think the DS is cooler. All of those guitars on that list, I would buy the DS this minute. Because I just love round shoulder guitars. Okay, so cedar top suggestion. The Ferk, if you can get a Ferk Indigo. Or a blue, those are probably a little over $1,000. Doesn't Larrivee have used under, not much anymore. It's hard to find them under $1,000 used. If you could find a cedar top like LO3 or OM3 or a D3, those are amazing. Larrivee's wonderful, wonderful guitars. The 214 I think is also $1,000. I think they're $999. So I think for sake of like not throwing 30 guitars on this list when I advertised it as 10, the twos are good. I like the 2 series. They're really pretty and they sound great plugged in, but they're a little overbuilt. And so they just aren't quite bassy enough for me. And I know that that's just a hard thing to pick on tailors for, but yeah. So the 210, the 210. Are either of them with a cedar top? Is there a 214 with a cedar top? If there is, holy cow. Other ones that I would say, yes, Gary, yeah. So that makes sense. Like you're going to see a lot more quartz in the UK, because usually when someone asks me about a K or a Quart or a Sigma, they're not in the US, because in the US both of those brands we just don't see them that often, and yeah. So there's another brand that I love. Like I've owned 3 of them. I've got another one coming next week, which is Orangewood. Orangewood are really cool guitars. They're made by Cort, and what their whole thing is that they are doing is they're bringing guitars, and because their business model just doesn't involve guitar dealers, you're just buying direct, you get to save that kind of 30-40%. So you'll get the same quality of guitar that you would normally spend a bunch of money on, and yeah. So, Cordoba, yeah, if I was doing classicals, I'd put Cordoba in there. I mean, Cordoba's making Guild, so I love Guild, I love Cordoba. Sean says, about 2 years ago, Epiphone released a Peter Frampton Texan. I bought one for busking around 500 pounds, and was really impressed, although the lacquer is way too thick. Yes, that's usually under $1,000. They're just going to spray the bejesus out of them with super thick plasticky lacquer. And I've heard that Greg Bennett's are great guitars under $1,000. Yep. Made by Samick. I mean, Samick is also making a lot of Epiphone guitars too. So, I'll throw the Yamaha Red Label in there for around $1,000. Not my go-to guitar, but an incredible stage guitar for the money, both plugged in and unplugged. I agree. Yep. Okay. The Taylor 210 and the 214 are both at $999. Yeah, those are great, and they were on my list. They just got kind of kicked off because I didn't want to throw 30 guitars at you guys. But Kramer says, I recently acquired a Boucher HG56 about a week or two ago after watching a review and absolutely love it. Dude, that's a freaking lovable guitar. That's so good. And then Tom says that he just received a 6-pack of String Joy. About to put my first set on your Modern Deluxe OM. Dude, that's awesome. I played a Modern Deluxe yesterday. Played a Modern Deluxe 28. Triple 028. And it was a really wonderful guitar. Yeah. So, tons of comments. Yes, Breedlove, their Atlas. So here's the thing. I hope you're picking up on this. There's a million ways that this could go. And it's so exciting. This is a great time to be learning how to play guitar. This is a great time to step up in how you're playing guitar. So yeah, I don't know. I'm a big fan of lots of guitar brands right now. There are only a couple that I would say stay away from. Yeah, I have no hesitation recommending Orangewood. And if another person sends me the video of Chris and the guys from Driftwood cutting the guitar apart, I'm going to lose my mind. Have you seen this? I don't think you've seen this. Of course I've seen it. But they said that Orangewoods are overbuilt. Maybe they are, but I've had 3 and they all sound wonderful. So someone says, yeah, this question. So what Orangewood would you suggest to buy for best overall sound and tone? So that's completely subjective, but the best one that I've had was the Hudson. And I had the Torified top. It was, I mean, there's a video that I put on my channel where you cannot tell the difference between it and a Husson Dalton TDM. Now, that Husson Dalton was $4,400 when it was new. So it's like, how many times is that? $600 versus $4,400. Amazing. Like, what, 6 or 7 times more expensive. So I like those. I like the Ava. I like the Sage. I've had an Oliver. I mean, if you can get all solid. So I'm getting one of the Topanga. It'll be here next week. And I'm going to put it up against the $6,000 Ferk, a $6,800 Ferk that just showed up. That is horrifically damaged and was repaired, and you'd never know. But it was drop-kicked by UPS. Daniel says, was the Modern Deluxe as good as you hoped? It was. All the Martins, all of them. I'm excited. There's a great video. So we made a video called Our Acoustic Guitar is Lame with Jonathan and I. And we talk about how, like, the difference of acoustic guitars versus electric guitars and how you're going to spend money and how much things are going to cost. And so it's pretty fun. So anyway, yep, Aussies are court and Sigma territory. The latest run of Sigmas are truly disgraceful. I'm never this harsh. They have destroyed their brand in a few years and their name and their brand name more specifically. That's unfortunate. You should, oh, that's funny. Add Driftwood subscriber to your profile so people stop sending it. That's funny. Cool. Well, guys, we did it. Those are guitars that I think are worth it. I get asked this all the time. I'm going to take this list. I'm going to put it on my website because I get asked, what would you recommend under $1,000? So here's my list. And if you guys are on the fence or thinking about acoustic guitars, a couple things. Number one, you can book time with me. We can have a video call just like this. You'll be on a video call on the other side. We will talk about it, and I'll answer whatever questions you have. You can book those. Go to jeremytheguitarhunter.com, and then you can hit the Let's Talk button, and then you can schedule. It's even on the front page. You can just scroll down, and there's a calendar, and you can see when I'm available, when you're available, and you can find a good time. And it's, dude, it's one of my favorite things. What was this? I saw somebody from Louisiana in here. Flat Top Alpha. Where'd you go? Oh, JT, that's so kind. Thank you. Super chats are wonderful. Here it is. Hey, Jeremy, quick hello from Louisiana. Have been drawing up a beginner guitar plan. Have ordered a fret level checker, an Alnico's fret level, and a 2-hour beginner class from YouTube. That's awesome. Where are you in Louisiana? I can connect you with... Look up Rude Guitars, Evan Dowie in New Orleans. So it's EVINDOWEY. His social security number is 818. Yeah. Oh, hey, Tex. Hey, Howard. We were talking, somebody earlier was asking about how to be a guitar player with like a visual impairment or being blind. And we talked about you earlier. So maybe when this is done, you can go back and watch from the beginning. Robert Coughlin says, I'm just not buying guitars from China anymore. South Korea, Indonesia is fine for me, but I can't do China anymore. Not for an item I can live without. Yeah, I mean, there are a gajillion guitars. You can find guitars everywhere. And as long as you're not, like, hung up on, like, the new, latest, greatest. Because there are plenty of guitars that aren't made in China. I got a guitar in China last week that's a little problematic. And I've got to figure out what I'm going to do. I don't really want to do the review. I already did the review, but I just don't feel good advocating it. So, I don't know. That's a moral thing that we all have to figure out what we're doing. So, anyway. There we go. Yes. So Tex was talking about a short scale Orangewood was not set up and did not sound good when set up. Yeah. Was that the Oliver Jr.? I've heard the same thing. So, anyway, well, that is the end of the live show. Thank you guys for your friendship, your kindness, your goodness. And I'm Jeremy. I am the Guitar Hunter. And if you would, check out Write Guitars Faster if you want to learn, longer form, how to buy guitars, how to sell guitars, build a meaningful collection. Also, go over here. If you use any of the links in the description down below, you'll be able to, so do me a favor. Go over there. If you're just buying guitar strings this week, if you need guitar picks, just go through one of those links. Just buy a couple $1 thing, and that's a really easy way that you get to support me because this is how I take care of my family. I have 3 little kids. My wife stays home with our kids, and I want to do this for the rest of my life. So the 2 ways you can do that, you can buy merch, which this is not my merch. This is Casino Guitars. But you can buy, I also buy merch from my friends in the YouTube world, like Mythos Pedals. I love Zach. I will support him till the day I die. So anyway, thanks everybody. A couple comments, and then I promise I'm leaving. I'm out of here. Thanks everybody. Yes, 75% the way through the course. Lots of good info in it so far. So good. Yes, Alvarez. I should have talked about Alvarez. There are brands that I definitely missed, but you guys are wonderful. Thank you for your friendship and your kindness. And go fill the world with music and friendship. You guys are great. All right. See you later.